Sean Duffy, first of all, thank you for coming here and interviewing with us.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it, and we hope you're ready for the debate.
Oh, well, I am too, and I hope I'm ready for this interview as well. So we'll see how these questions go.
All right. So, first off, 15.8 in 100,000 people from Wisconsin die from opioid doses, in contrast to the 13.3 as the national average, even though Wisconsin doctors prescribe less opiates than the national average. How are you going to prevent Wisconsinite opioid deaths?
So here's the deal. We in the Congress passed a large opioid bill spending $10 billion. And it's up and down the chain. One, how do we fight the enforcement aspect of opioids? All the way down to how do we actually help people recover? It is really expensive. Alcoholism is tough. Opioids is really, really tough. And $10 billion, a lot of money. So we're spending the dollars out of the Congress to actually help this fight. But one of the key problems is the supply, and the drugs are coming in from the southern border. Securing the southern border isn't just a human trafficking, drug trafficking, gun trafficking. This is how we're going to actually reduce the flow, increase the prices, which means people can't afford to actually buy these drugs. They'll be more scarce. Just one other point on that too. I think that we have to look at how our doctors are managing pain. When anyone has pain in a hospital, they're throwing their pills their way, and there has to be some more local form of pain management that allows actually patients to have some pain. Because when people start getting these really powerful prescription drugs, they become addicted, and they start a pathway of drug use, and they've been model citizens their whole life. And so thinking about what we're doing throughout the process, I think, is critical. So I guess it's money, it's law enforcement, and it's rethinking how we manage pain.
And this is, of course, a national issue, but for every dollar that a Wisconsin man makes, a Wisconsin woman makes 77 cents. What plans do you have to reduce this gap and give Wisconsin women equal pay for equal work?
Well, I think there's different stats that you can pull. There's different choices that women might make. So my wife, smart, she's got a master's degree. If you look at the lifetime of her earnings, she took off 16 years, and we had 8 kids. And then she's getting back into the workforce. So sometimes with family choices, that can impact the amount that moms will make in the workforce. But I'm a believer that for equal jobs, you should get equal pay. But I also get concerned, how do you legislate that? I would just note that in this economy, it's going so well. There's so much competition for labor. If you don't pay women fairly, they'll go somewhere else and they'll get paid a fair rate. And I think the competition that you see in this economy is what makes things fair across the board. And by the way, I think you can see these numbers change. If you look at who's going into the STEM classes, women are far more STEM oriented now even than young men, and that used to not be the case just a few years ago.
So the Northwoods over the years has been slowly taken over by large, corporations such as the 2 Quick Trips that replaced buildings. Do you intend to protect local businesses from these large corporations, and if so, how?
Let me say, to say we're going to dictate what size business can go where. I'm a free enterprise guy, and I want to make sure that businesses can compete freely. By the way, I'm a huge fan of Quick Trip. Love their coffee, love their donuts, and I love that I have them close to my home. Oh. And so the services that they provide the community is making the community a better place. And so what I want is a system that allows all of our businesses to compete. And just, you talk about, I'm from Hayward, so we're even smaller than you guys are. What's key is what drives our economies are small businesses, not the big ones. I mean, some big ones do come in, but small businesses drive the economy. And if you have too many rules and regulations, those small businesses can't follow them, they can't navigate them. And they spend their time trying to navigate government as opposed to running their business. And I'm a believer that I want rules, I want regulations, but make them easy for people to use. And don't make so many of them that no matter what I do, I'm going to violate a rule. And that's become kind of the norm. As of a few years ago, there's just so many rules. I want to streamline it so the small business can actually not just be successful, but thrive. And that's where our families are hired in rural communities. Like I was born and raised in here in the greater Monaco area.
A mine in the town of Lynn has recently been proposed, and many locals are concerned about the environmental impacts, particularly on the willow flowage. What is your stance
What
on...
mine is that?
Lynn, I believe
Okay.
they're mining iron, if I...
So this is not the one up in Ashland in Iron County?
No.
Okay.
It's a different deal. Been to many county board meetings on this mine. What are your plans for environmental regulations across the country, specifically in the area of mining?
So listen, if we can mine and we can do it in a clean way, make sure we protect our environment, our water, I'm all about it. They're really good paying jobs. The question becomes, if you don't, mine and don't get iron ore, how do you have many of the things? How do you have a car? How do you have a bike? How do you have a school? These are natural resources that are necessary for our economy to function. I look at the environmental issue. I believe we want to do things in a way that's healthy for our forests, our lakes. We like to hunt and fish and ski. What I don't want, I don't want a push of massive new rules and regulations on the environment, because here's what happens. It's counterintuitive, but those businesses, the manufacturers, the big ones that you talked about, Benjamin, they pack up, and if they can, they'll go to China or India. And we just don't live in the American environment. We live in a global environment, and they don't have any rules there. And so what happens when those companies leave because of really expensive regulation is they go to these dirty countries, and they have no rules. They pollute like all get out, and they send their products back here. So one, we get the pollution, but lost the jobs. We do things better here than anywhere else in the world. We have better rules. And so let's try to keep those businesses, manufacturers competitive, but also clean. And that's the balance that we need to strike. But if you pile the regulations on, they're going somewhere else, and in the end, we're worse off. We're not cleaner, we're dirtier when they leave, because you can't breathe the air in China. So, yeah.
All right. Well, northern Wisconsin has seen an act of violence at Anago High School and credible threats of violence at other high schools in this area. How do you intend to make schools a safer place for kids?
Yeah, so I proposed $5 billion of new money, and sometimes we can throw millions and billions. This is a lot of money. I have 8 kids, college, high school, middle school, grade school, and no school. And parents can't send their children to school and have them be a victim of one of these heinous crimes. And so what I want to do is send our money back to the school districts, let them do risk assessments on their school, and whether it's cameras, single points of entry into the school, and other security, details. I want to leave it up to the school system. I was disappointed. The Republicans and Democrats in the Congress spent way less money than that. It was a bipartisan agreement. I fought back on it because, again, I think we need more resources to shore up our schools. But I'll tell you this, is it a gun problem? We've had guns in this country going back well past our founding, and these events didn't happen. Something is happening in our culture. And I don't know if it's the fact that we have more broken homes, more kids being raised in single family homes, which is, I'd say, when my wife works or when I go to the Congress, being at home alone with the kids, it's really hard. It's not an easy deal. I don't know if it's you guys pull out your phones. I see kids, they'll get together, you guys just sit and text each other, right? So, or if it's the video games, the violence on the games, the violence on the TV. We have to look at what's going on culturally, where people are picking up arms and shooting innocent classmates. Something's happening in the culture that we have to have a really hard conversation about, that I don't think people are willing to have. When we do that, I think we're going to be better off having a healthier, happier, fuller youth population and American population.
As an entire generation of Americans grows older, elder care is becoming an increasingly large issue. How do you plan to provide care to senior citizens, specifically in the areas of Medicare availability and nursing home regulations?
Yeah, so with Medicare, there's a lot of pressure on the Medicare budget, right? What's happened is our baby boomers are all retiring right now. So wasn't happening before, but now all these baby boomers, as they stop working and go into the retirement, they're all drawn Medicare, number one. Number two, people live longer. Modern medicine, we all live longer, which is a really great thing. And number three, healthcare costs have gone up through the roof. And so those three things have put a lot of pressure on the Medicare budget. I think you have to make sure you allow for more innovation in the healthcare space, more competition in the healthcare space. And I think we have to look at future generations and how we are going to deliver care. So people will say, Republicans want to, take away Medicare for seniors. Absolutely not true. Remember when they ran commercials? You guys were really little not long ago, but dumping old ladies off a cliff was Paul Ryan. And listen, we're going to maintain and secure and preserve Medicare for our seniors, those who are about to retire. But we should have a conversation about people that are my age to say what kind of Medicare system, healthcare system works for seniors and allows us to plan for our retirement. So it's sustainable, it works, and I know what we're going to get, because if we don't modify this soon for the next generations, we're going to have some real budgetary problems.
All right, so Wisconsin ranks 10th in the national number of college students with debt. How do you plan to make college more affordable and or lower the growing debt that Wisconsin students already have?
Have you toured colleges yet? Have you gone?
I have, yeah.
Where have you gone?
I've toured Madison.
So at Madison, is it just classrooms and brick old dorms like you're living in the military? No, it's like pools and racquetball, and let me show you the tennis courts. We spend a lot of money on things other than education, and our kids are paying for it. So let's look at going, how do I actually streamline our schools, give great educations, but not make them Club Meds? Now you guys might go, I want the Club Med atmosphere, I'm going there, I want the swimming pool. Well, you pay for it though then. But the debt is a huge problem. It's affecting young people's ability to buy a home. It's delaying their willingness to get married and have families because this debt is so large. My daughter's going right now, and we had a hard conversation, but this is what the debt is, and this is what we have to pay back. And it's not easy, but I think the answer isn't saying how do I give more money away so students can deal with the costs. The costs of the schools are too high, and we have to look at what's causing the rise of those costs of tuition and get those schools to bring the cost down and make it affordable, because they've gone through the roof in the last 20, 30 years. The prices have.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with us. Looks like that's about all the time we have. We'll not monopolize any more of your time.
Listen, great questions.
Thank you.
Guys for being part of the Model UN. Love your badges. Great questions, and look forward to the debate. Thank you.